your seatbelt. It's going to be a bumpy ride.
Chrissie is hilarious.
Chrissie, have you ever heard of the comedian Basha K. Ali?
No, that sounds like something you yell out before you blow up a plane.
30 seconds remaining.
But you know what, good thing to say, I dabbled in stand-up for something. I haven't been disrespectful to you at all.
I was very confused by the title, Everything Everywhere All at Once, because that's also what we call it when Ash takes off his shirt.
I shouldn't be up here. I should be in school on the other side of the ocean.
Hello, good morning. I know this is very exciting for me to be up this early, but it's for a very good cause. I just saw Godzilla Minus One last night. Before I get into my proper review of the movie, I have a couple of stand-up gigs to mention to all of you guys. This weekend, tomorrow, I'm flying to Tampa. Come see me in Tampa, Florida. I'm headlining this Sunday at the Side Splitters Comedy Club. That's this Sunday, December 3rd. Nice early show, 7 p.m. Can't go wrong. You'll be home in plenty time to meal prep, tuck your kids in, sneak away from your wife and sleep on the couch. Whatever it is that you like to do on your Sundays, you'll be able to do it. And come to our show. I'm bringing the lovely Keanu Thompson out with me. She is a blast and so funny. So get your tickets now, tampons. Then I'm heading to San Diego the first weekend of the new year, January 5th and 6th. I'm headlining the Mic Drop Comedy Club out in San Diego. I don't know if that's Spanish for the whale's vagina, or is that San Francisco? Someone will have to let me know. 3 shows that weekend, 1 Friday, 2 Saturday. Also, very exciting. We just added this date. Oh, and in the San Diego shows, I'll be bringing the lovely Lila Hart with me, who is absolutely hilarious. Then I'm going to be in Dallas. Just added this date down here. I'm headlining the website going haywire. I'm headlining Hyenas in Dallas Thursday, January 25th, 8 o'clock show. Tickets just went on sale. Get them while they're hot. I got to figure out who else is going to be on that show. It just came together so quickly. Also, I'm going to be back in Jersey. It's not on my website yet because I don't think the tickets are available yet. But Jersey people, come see me Saturday, February 24th. I'll be back at Tiff's in Morris Plains, New Jersey. So there you go. And also might be another exciting little thing in the works, but I'm going to wait and see. I'm getting into my grace mode here. But might be another exciting thing coming up for your girl in December. So I'm going to have to get some more details on that before I announce it. All right. Now, back to Godzilla. I didn't even so much as see a trailer for this movie. This is one of the movies that is part of the Friday Night Tights homework. This is not a movie I would have seen unless it was more or less assigned for us to see, to talk about on FNT, which is later today at 4 p.m. Eastern on Nerdrotic's YouTube channel. I didn't even see a trailer. I was like, well, I got to go see it. I'm going to go see it. So let me tell you how pleasantly surprised and how much I loved this movie. This, I think, is the best movie I've seen all year. I've seen a lot of movies, guys. I've seen the Marvels. I've seen the Barbie movie. I liked the Barbie movie, actually. So this movie takes place in post-war Japan at its lowest point, when a new crisis emerges in the form of a giant monster baptized in the horrific power of the atomic bomb. See, Godzilla movies to me have always seemed, how can I put this, sort of corny, because there's always been something about the Godzilla character which to me is like kind of unbelievable. It's like, all right, he's like a dinosaur man. He's a dinosaur creature. it doesn't look like anything I've ever seen in real life. It kind of looks part dinosaur, part fish creature, part human. You see passing clips and things of Godzilla, and you're like, this is a corny movie. This is a corny, nerdy movie for boys. And I accepted that. I was like, this is just never going to be something I like. But I'm so glad I had to see it for FNT. What's very cool about this movie, look, if you came here looking for Asian stereotypes, very good. You came to the right place. Godzilla actually represents the collective fear of this whole nation during nuclear war. And when you look at it through that lens, you're a lot more sympathetic to everything that's going on. And a lot actually applies to right now, us living here in the United States. A lot of us walk around with a sense of paranoia, a sense of worry, constantly like, what the hell's happening with the economy? What the hell's happening? When is the next pandemic happening? What is going on with the elections? What is going on in our schools? Why do our kids have access to reading porn? Um, there's a lot to worry about. So you can watch this, and it applies to kind of like our current day fears as well. But very cool. You don't have to be a nerd. And obviously the movie is all in Japanese. There are subtitles for the whole thing. So if you're not a big reader, you will not like this movie because it requires a ton of reading. Almost the whole thing you have to read. It's very cool. You know who this guy who plays the doctor reminded me so much of Viva Fry. Anyone who's seen this movie, back me up here. He's got the same sort of lean, frame, the frazzled hair, the sort of like quirky scientist doctor vibes, but like so nice. So this guy reminded me of Viva Fry. Very cool. These men are sort of assigned everything about this movie is so good. Let me say out the gate, you don't have to be a nerd or a boy or a man to enjoy this movie. If you're a girl watching this review right now, say to your husband, boyfriend, whatever, let's go see the new Godzilla movie together. And first of all, he'll be shocked. He'll be like, what? Why? Because you don't have to be a Godzilla fan even to love this movie. The writing is fantastic. The plot is great. The characters are incredible. There's a love story in here. I cried so many times. Ugh. I'm trying not to spoil it too much. This is a girl-friendly movie. You do not need to have the lore on Godzilla to know what's going on here. And did you know, guys, I don't know how many Godzilla movies there were. There are 37 official feature-length Godzilla movies in this franchise. That's a lot. And they still keep making them. And this one is fantastic. I've heard people say that this is the best Godzilla movie they've ever seen. I can't say that. This might be the only Godzilla movie I've seen. I guess the movies are split into 4 distinct subseries: Showa, Heisei, Millennium, Reiwa, which includes Shin Godzilla, 3 animated films, which are considered spin-offs, and the most recent installment, Godzilla Minus One. Now, when I first heard the title Godzilla Minus One, I thought maybe Godzilla had been invited to a fancy gala, and the title had something to do with his RSVP. Like Godzilla had a date, and at the last minute, she pulled out, and he is now Godzilla Minus One, and he has to attend this gala by himself and deal with the sort of embarrassment that comes with a lost love. Maybe he has a fear of he has a social anxiety. Maybe he couldn't find a tux that fit. That's what I thought Godzilla Minus One was about, but I was very wrong. It is about nuclear war. So this movie starts in, oh my goodness. It's this is the trailer, so I'm not going to spoil anything by playing this. This lady is as fantastic, by the way. She plays, I'm just going to play the whole little thing here. You care about all these characters. So the movie kind of starts post bomb in, I think, a city called Ginza in Japan. And so everything looks like shit. A lot of people's families have died. You find the main character's parents have died. His neighbor, her children have all died, and she's just by herself. Um, you kind of come to know the main character as a guy who has incredible survivor's guilt and PTSD from the war. He is a basically like was given the role of kamikaze pilot, and he survives, and you learn about how that came to be and the kind of I don't know, anguish that comes with survival. And then he kind of it's him going back into normal life, of which there is no normal life. Everything is trashed. Like the houses are literally everything is bombed. Everything looks like a dump. It's like there's just house parts everywhere, building parts everywhere. And he meets this woman. I forget her name. The woman in the subway. He meets her, and she's got a baby. That's not even her baby. It's like it was a random baby she found, and she was like, her parents are dead, so everything's fucked up. I'm taking this baby in. And she kind of just moves in with the main character and he's like, "You can't stay here." And she's like, "Guess what? I'm staying here." Much like the American lesbian, she just moved right in without a discussion. So I appreciate the confidence. And they sort of become this like pseudo family. And you start to really care about these characters. I cared about the characters and the plot and their sort of like love story way more. I would forget that this was a Godzilla movie. I would be like, "Oh, right, it's time for the ah!" It's like you hear the classic little Godzilla scream. You see his tail whipping around, destroying things, and then you're like, "Oh, right, here he is again." She was great. Oh, I was like, "Look how cute whoever played this little girl. Oh my god, you did such a great job." And this man struggles not only with his survivor's guilt, but he remembers like his parents told him to live, so he's like, "I have to live." But he's like, "But for what?" And he feels like he can't even enjoy the life he has. He's just riddled with guilt. He feels like he's failed uh the troops that he was serving with, because a lot of those guys died, and he's dealing with like, well, I survived, they died, I don't really deserve to live. They all had families, I don't have a family. And then so this family sort of comes to him, and you deal with he has an incredible character arc. He goes from being like, "Get out of my house, you random lady and baby," to loving this baby and this woman. And I think eventually well, I won't spoil it, but and even okay. So he's trying to like they're trying to find their lives again, right? After this whole place is bombed, and he gets a job working with basically it's a government funded job where they're assigned to this boat, and they're like, "Oh, it's a government boat. It's specially made." So he's expecting to roll up to this like fancy submarine or something, and no, he rolls up to a wooden boat. And this doc guy from before, he's sort of put together with this cast of characters, some of which had been to war, one of them hadn't, and they've all got their different issues, but they get you can see their friendship grow because they're assigned this very dangerous job of collecting these bombs basically from like the bottom of the ocean. And they're in these wooden boats because if you were in a metal boat, that would set off these bombs. So they have to basically collect bombs for the government. And then eventually, like, uh it becomes, I guess, sort of impossible for them to rely on the government to defeat Godzilla. So it's like this group of men, of just citizens, has to come together to devise a scheme to defeat Godzilla. And it really is a perfect example of ordinary people in an extraordinary circumstance. But she was so cute. There was a scene where she's like, "Daddy," and he's like, "Don't call me daddy." And then at the end, he's like, "I love you. Ah, don't leave me." And she draws that shitty little picture, and he's like, "Oh my god, it's great." We all look like the straight face emoji. Oh, yeah, he wants to live for this little girl. Oh my god, at one point so they don't get married, right? He's kind of dealing with his own issues. He's got the PTSD. He doesn't feel like he deserves nice things. So this woman that sort of finds himself like living in his house, she at one point is like, "Okay, I'm gonna get a job. I got a desk job in the city because you're never gonna meet a wife this way." Because she kind of ascertains like he's not into me. She probably read the book. He's just not that into you. So then she gets this desk job which throws her into the city right into the path of Godzilla at one point. So that kind of really wakes up our main character to be like, "Oh no, I do care about her. I don't want her to be eaten alive." Wow. It's so good. It's so good. Like this does not look like a female-friendly movie, but it is. Sure, there's action, destruction. Every time I would see one of these subs, I think of like the battleship. Like, "You sunk my battleship." There's ships, there's guns, there's Godzilla, of course. Godzilla is so scary. Look at his little face. Very scary face. This reminds me of when I come home if I've been out for several hours or, 5 minutes. You know how dogs are. The excited face that Muffin has when I come home and she's like she's like baring her teeth, but she's so excited to see you. That's kind of what this reminds me of. Godzilla makes this like a happy little excited muffin face. But he's obviously vicious. And the movie starts out when we first see Godzilla, he is smaller. He is not skyscraper sized at all. He's like maybe small hill sized. But then he's got this ability to heal himself, which is unbelievable. There's always something corny and unbelievable about Godzilla, but it works. You buy it. You're like, yeah, he's just this insane, mysterious beast from the ocean who can recharge himself, heal himself, and then he has this special thing where his spikes glow one at a time. They like activate, and he's like, and then he can shoot out what like this blue beam that kind of acts like a nuclear bomb, where he can just level a whole area just with his fucking Godzilla breath. And you sort of see that charge up and you're like, "It's coming!" Nah. But he's got these like little hands. He's very scary though. Needs to moisturize. Tanks. God, you really just see like how folks are affected by war. They made this great, it was like this great team comprised of like everyday people and like veteran Navy peeps. And this guy's like a doctor and he comes up with a scheme. So cool. It's so cool. There are so many moments where you're like, I don't want these people to die. I know they all look alike, but I want them to live." Look at that. Like it's like when you're plugging in the Christmas lights and you're like, "Do they work? Do I have to replace a bulb?" Gojira. Very good. So good. Go see this movie. Directed by Takahashi Yamazaki, also written by Takahashi Yamazaki. Stars Minami. These fucking names. I can't with you guys. Okay, so the woman who plays the main character, Noriko, is played by Minami Hamabi. I almost said Harambe. Sumiko is played by Sakura Ando. She plays the neighbor who at first you're like, "Okay, stop being a cunt. We get it. All your children died, but like, let's pull together." But she has a great character arc. This guy was fantastic. He plays Kochi Shikishima. His name is Ryunuku. God damn these names. Ryunuku Suki Kamiki. Very, very good. Like it made me feel and understand what it's like to go to war and come back and deal with all that PTSD and guilt. This guy was fantastic. Sasuke Tashibani, played by Munitaki Aoki. He served with him kind of in that original battle scene, and then you get to see the whole interesting story of how they come together and work together to defeat Godzilla. Very cool. It's such a good movie. Oh, it's so good. I was really pleasantly so surprised. I think it's going to do really well. Oh, here's the storyline. Feeling as if he unfairly cheated death too many times, Shikishima, a surviving kamikaze pilot, is attacked on Odo Island along with many warplane engineers by a gargantuan monster. That's Godzilla. After the engineers died due to Shikishima failing to distract the monster. Okay, so there was a scene in the opening. This is where his guilt comes from, his survival guilt, because there's a scene where we first see Godzilla and he happens upon these engineers on Odo Island who are there to repair planes. And he's like, oh, run. They send this guy, Shikishima, like, go to the plane, run to the plane that's grounded and use the gun to shoot at Godzilla. And he freezes. He can't do it. And then all these engineers die. So he feels guilt about that. And then this homeless woman and a baby move into his home when he returns, which is basically like a one-room shack, and everything is destroyed around it. And people are just living in shambles, picking up the pieces of their life. And you just have to sort of talk to whoever's around, like, hey, do you know if my parents are dead? It's all just word of mouth. Shikishima, now on a personal mission, teams up with a large group of veterans to finally take down the monster known as Gojira. It's PG-13, so you can bring your teenage children to this. Yeah, there was no crazy sex scene or anything like that. Was there even any kissing? No, I don't think so. I didn't realize how many freaking Godzilla movies there were. It's so good, guys. It's 2 hours and 5 minutes. It flew by. Absolutely flew by. I didn't even have to take a pee break, and I'm a pregnant woman. So there you go. IMDb rating 8.4 out of 10. I don't really know what these other things mean, but like, oh my God, it's such a good movie. I can't get over it. I can't stop talking about it. Deranged Lunatic. Did you say Godzilla was horny? Yes, he had horns all on his back. I don't really know what Godzilla's problem was. Maybe he's over medicated, but like, why are you so angry and why do you just want to destroy the cities? You know what? He probably is horny because there's nobody his size to date. There's no other like female sea creatures that he can get with. What is he gonna get with a manatee? A whale? That's not enough for him. Andrew Matthews, when in the film do they say yellow girl power? You know, they don't, and I was waiting for it the whole time. It's so good. Ugh, go see it, everyone. The Pork Chop Express, thanks for the super chat. Have the ticket on me, Chrissy. P.S. Get Owen B on FNT or Simcast or some fireworks. Owen B. Owen Benjamin. Yeah, I wonder if I wonder if he would like to do that. I enjoy Owen. He's fun. But yeah, maybe I could get him on Simcast. Faux show. What, you like seeing the fights break out? You like seeing me lose friends? Oh, more Japanese names. Very good. All right. Noriko is played by Minami Hamabi. Sakura Ando. Somika Ota. Ryunosuke Kamiki. Goichi Shikisama. They're easy to say if you just pretend you're a sushi chef. Munetake Aoki Sasuke Tachibana. Kuranosuke Sasaki. A lot of these names sound similar. Yoji Akitsu. Michael Arias. Michael Arias. Hideki. Hideki Matsuri. That's the only one I know how to say. Hidetaka Yoshikoga. Yuya Endo. You have to say it all like you're mad, like you have to say a Japanese name like they're a little kid and they just broke something very expensive and you're like trying to control your anger, like Kisuke Ida. Eiko Itagaki. Like, what are you doing? That's my Japanese lesson for the day. Takayashi Yamazaki. Might get canceled for this. Go ahead, clip it. See if I care. Go see this movie. The 2 hours gonna fly by. There is a scene where Godzilla's stomping through the town, and main character guy goes to find his his sort of not girlfriend roommate lady, and just all of a sudden that was the most kind of fantastical moment. He just appears out of nowhere and finds her, and I'm like, wow, they all look alike, but he found her. It's amazing. That's love right there. Tomo arigato. Mark Zart. Hola. Hola, Mark Zart. Good morning, Chrissy, Frank, Baby Muffin, and Waffles. Godzilla or Kong? Have I seen Godzilla versus King Kong? Maybe I did. At this point, I am more afraid of Godzilla because I know King Kong can be charmed. Like if you're a lady, he'll sort of pick you up in his hand and he'll be like, hi. You know, he won't immediately eat you. Maybe I'm just basing this off entirely The Simpsons, but that's what I know and understand of King Kong. Godzilla is like, you can't reason with him. You can't talk to him. He's too emotional. So I'd say Godzilla is a much scarier creature. And he shoots nuclear beams out of his mouth, for Christ's sakes. Wow. I think deep inside, Godzilla is probably just a teddy bear. Maybe this whole time he's just had a splinter in his foot and he needs like a charming woman to just sort of be like, oh, let me get this for you. And she pulls out this huge splinter in his foot. And he's like, oh my God, that feels so much better. I'm going to go back into the sea and stop bothering everyone. Thank you. But then we wouldn't have any more movies. Asians are like history. They don't repeat, but they do rhyme. What? Godzilla movies were big when I was young, and when they made the one with baby Godzilla, I believe Son of Godzilla, we talked about that movie for years, but we didn't have much back then. Oh, Son of Godzilla. Women can kill Kong. See, there's a weakness there, and his weakness is ladies. Maybe Godzilla has heartburn, and that's why he's pissed off. Yeah, maybe Godzilla is lactose intolerance, but he's just so used to having cereal with milk every morning. It's just part of his routine. And he's like, what? But I could eat it before. Yeah. Very exciting. No kissing in this movie, but I still loved it. Usually I get upset when it seems like characters should be kissing and they're not. Not the case in this movie. I loved every single character. I cared about every single character. I didn't want anybody to die. The little girl, oh my God, you watch her going from being an infant and like, is she going to survive? There's no one here to breastfeed her. To like becoming a little girl. And you're like, oh my God. And she's like, Dada. And he's like, I'm not your daddy. And you're like, come on, just let her say it. She's drawing you pictures for Christ's sakes. I'm about to cry. It was so good. Oh, very good. Go see it. A lot of good action. If you like seeing ships chewed up, broken apart, it's almost like the coolest part of Titanic, which is the ship breaking and falling into. There's some of that, but without the cringy, like, oh, never let go, Jack. None of that. A lot of destruction of buildings, people falling off buildings as they collapse. That's fun. All of the things. It has all the things. Godzilla is supposed to be created by nuclear energy. Okay, so he's the sort of manifestation of a nuclear weapon, I guess. Where it's just sort of you're like, I don't know where it's gonna go next. Are we gonna live tomorrow? Food is kind of scarce, but you never really. There aren't that many eating scenes. But they all go from nothing and no jobs to finding jobs to pulling themselves up by their bootstraps. Does it? Does Godzilla have a change of heart at the end and attack China instead? No spoilers. I kept thinking like Godzilla, where he would have been nice to have. He could swat away the nuclear bomb, but of course he's the manifestation of the fear of nuclear war. So it's a moot point. I am making the movie sound gay. Wow. I don't want to see another emotional movie. I want to see Godzilla. You will see Godzilla destroy. It's full of destruction. And you can look away when the women are talking. You can go to the bathroom, okay? Love God. It's very masculine. It's very much a boy movie. And I'm just saying it's girl-friendly because you don't need to know a bunch of lore. It's not just like it's not like a Fast and the Furious movie where it's just all action and no characters, like no story. It's lovely. But you are certainly not gay for seeing this movie as a dude. It's a dude movie, but it's girl friendly, if that makes sense. Godzilla is a clumsy direct metaphor for splitting the atom above metropolitan. I'm excited for Lady Bowlers too. Godzilla first came out, I believe, during the Cold War, and it was to convey the perceived dangers of nuclear fallout and radiation creating monsters. Oh, very good, Fieldy. And you still get the classic Godzilla scream. I'll have to work on it. The score is incredible too. Oh, the music is great. Fast and Furious is not about action, it's about family. Yeah, right. Ugh, I can barely get through those. Yeah. Look away when the women are talking. Well, it is the weekend after all. Yes, X-Ray Girl did a great job in this movie. There she is. She's sitting in the subway right there. X-Ray Girl. This was great, guys. Can't say enough good things about Godzilla Minus One. It is not about an RSVP to a fancy event, turns out. It's a great writing, great character development, a great score, plenty of action, but you also really feel for these characters and want them all to live. Go see it. Thanks, guys. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all on Friday Night Tights later tonight. Bye.